Good morning. Welcome to the community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed. Today is the 8th of August, or August 8th in the year 2024. We are glad that you are here and joining us. Our guest today is Sandra Vasquez with the SBA, the Small Business Administration. And we're going to be learning more about what she does in her role as a business opportunity specialist. So those of you who are familiar or working with the SBA, getting financing or loans, this is going to be a great session for you to learn more about a lot of the certifications that are out there. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're glad to see you here. Welcome back to our guest. My name is Gregory Sneed, owner and CEO of Lifesaver Financial Services. I work as a wealth building, also a personal financial coach, and a financial literacy trainer. Because I firmly believe that when you feel better about your money, you feel better about your life. Now, my pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage the Queen. We didn't come up with an August Queen. So what did we say last week? What kind of queen are you for this?
I think you
For
said
this month?
all round queening. Hello, guys. How are you? I'm Crystal Mitchell, and yes, I'm the inspiration behind this platform, but it can't be done without this amazing team that we have. And so we launched in 2020 as a result of the pandemic, and we have been growing, and we are still here 4 years later. So let's give a hand clap for that. Every week, we're here with some amazing leaders and stakeholders that are sharing with you what is going on in our city, in our country, and how we can be involved. And most importantly, how you can get to know them. So in the event that you have to make them accountable, you have an email and you can call them with a phone number. So that's what the purpose of the community briefing is, and it's also our platform for networking and growing to help us work in solidarity to make change in our city. So thank you so much for joining us. I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, as well as a business coaching consultant. I have my own practice, and I work with pretty much all the organizations and agencies out there, helping, training, teaching both business skills and acumen, and most importantly, accounting acumen to our small business community. And then I have this podcast, and I have the Business Zone. So we are sponsored by, and this is powered by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA, Miss Sarah Harris. She'll just wave to you virtually because she's there. And we are sponsored monetarily by Los Angeles LDC, Southern California Edison, SoCal Gas, Wells Fargo, and PCR. And we welcome all donations and acceptance of money from whomever wants to send it to us so we can continue to keep this platform going. You can find us. We stream live. We don't stream live, but we stream. Yeah, we do. We stream live on Facebook, and you will find us the videos archived on our YouTube channel, the Community Briefing. So please follow us, join us, go tell everybody so we can have a full platform. My goal is that they kick us off of Zoom because we got too many people. How about that? And we have to go to a streaming. So with that, our team is Mr. Gregory Sneed, Stephen Turner, Ms. Robin Billups. I don't know if Robin's in today, but Ms. Robin Billups and Stephen will pop in on the end and tell her who our guest is next week. So with that, Greg, I am going to turn it back over to you.
Yes, thank you. Robin,
one
is
thing,
that it?
Greg, one thing,
Yes,
because
yes,
since Robin is not here, so she's
yeah.
our voting guru. Oh, were you getting ready to do that?
No, no, go ahead.
Okay, she's our voting czar. We are what 93 days from an election. We need to get out and vote. Very important, imperative that we go vote, 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 vote. Grab everybody that you know that is of legal age to vote to make them help them get to the voting polls. This is a fight for our democracy. I'm voting for Kamala. I can't tell you guys who to vote for, but I'm voting for her. She announced her VP, so that's awesome. But we need to protect her because all kinds of craziness is coming out. So follow Win with the Black Women Follow Black Women's Collective, National Coalition of Women, Black Women, and they got all the information that you need. So with that, Greg, I'm back over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. So, it's funny you mentioned the word stakeholder. So I was a stakeholder last night.
Oh, you held a stake?
I had 2 ribeyes on the grill. Exactly.
Cool.
Dum-dums. Okay. Our guest today is Sandra Vasquez, and she is a business opportunity specialist with the U.S. United States Small Business Administration here in the Los Angeles District Office, which encompasses Los Angeles, Ventura, and Santa Barbara counties. So that's quite a few people. That's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 million people. With over 30 years of experience at SBA, 30 years, Ms. Vasquez has provided invaluable business development assistance to small business regarding federal government contracting, including the 8A, Hub Zone, women-owned, economically disadvantaged women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. Specifically, she coaches and guides a portfolio of 8A, and that's the Section 8A loan, firms through regular performance monitoring, make sure they're on track, to ensure compliance with the firm's participation in the 8A Business Development Program. This supports and helps address the firm's grasp in areas such as contract sourcing, business capture, and marketing assistance. She also works closely with the marketing and lender relations divisions to provide financial consultation and guidance regarding business growth and development. She is a native of Los Angeles, and she has a Bachelor of Science degree from Cal State Long Beach. The beach. Is that 2 weeks in a row? Was there somebody from here last week or the week before was from Cal State Long Beach? The beach, the beach.
Yes.
So, yeah, without further delay, let's bring Sandra to the virtual stage, and thank you guys for joining us.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me join you for the community briefing. When I met with Sarah about a few months ago, she mentioned this to me, and right away I was like, yes, please count SBA. We want to be there. We want to be able to make sure that we're reaching as many people and letting you know about our programs and services. Before I get started, just want to double check. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, great. Okay.
And we hear you.
Okay, great.
And one thing I forgot to mention that you shared with us on the front end is, as she joined the SBA, what is it now, with 30 years, I forget what the date was, during or right around the Northridge earthquake.
Northridge earthquake, yes. So I started my SBA career doing disaster loans. And I kind of moved through the different divisions and loans and commercial servicing in the executive direction, working with the director, kind of doing all the programs and services at a high level. And then I landed in contracting, which I actually enjoy this the most. But today I'm going to do a little broad overview on our SBA programs and services, and then we'll open it up for questions. So let's get started. Let's see here. So as for those of you, I hope most of you already know about the SBA. We're the Small Business Administration. We're a federal agency, and our mission is to help small businesses start, grow, expand, and recover from natural disasters, right? We do this by working with our resource partner network. So we have over 1,400 partners that we fund. So SBA nationwide, we have 68 district offices, right? And here in California, we have 6. So our office in Los Angeles, again, we oversee LA, Ventura, and Santa Barbara County. But we also have the San Diego office, Orange County office, Fresno, Sacramento, San Francisco. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody. We all provide the same programs and services nationwide, whether it's the loans, the resource partner counseling, or the certification programs. It just depends on which partner that you want to work with that fits your needs. Okay. So we're going to get into that. So there's different types of partners. The first one is SCORE. It's our Service Corps of Retired Executives. These are basically volunteers. They're not getting paid. They've worked in a certain industry and they just volunteering their time to give back to the small business community. And so there's a wide range of different specialties that they can provide guidance in. Maybe you're in the restaurant industry, maybe you're IT, cybersecurity, construction. So just depending on what type of industry you're in, you can get paired with a mentor to help meet your specific needs. Here in our service area, we have 4 different chapters that service our community. And a lot of this counseling is done for free. They also have a lot of free online workshops for your disposal. We also work with what's called small business development centers. And I imagine most people are familiar with the small business development centers. And most of them are tied to your local community college, right? And as you can see, we have a bigger list of centers here. So depending on where you live, you would reach out to the center that's close to you. And again, they also do a lot of free coaching and consulting. But for them, they do charge for some of their training. So you just want to be careful as you approach these different organizations to get an idea of, what services they provide, how they can best suit your need, and if there's any cost involved. So you want to make sure that you get that from the front end. Now, we also have women business centers, and we actually just got another women's business center recently. So this keeps adding. We're really doing our best to try to make sure that women entrepreneurs are getting the opportunities on a level playing field as the other communities, right? So we want to make sure that you have access to this free advice. I would recommend reaching out to the centers just to see where their expertise lies. Not all centers have the same services. They have their unique differences. Some will be focused more on restaurants, some more on, different industries. So give them a call, let them know what your needs are, and you can tap into more than one center. It doesn't have to be just one. So maybe you go to the Women Business Center to meet one need. You go to maybe SCORE because you want to be paired up with a mentor that has years and years of experience. So you can work this to your benefit to make sure that you get all the help that you need. The last one here is what we call our Veteran Business Outreach Center. So this is new. We just got our first center here in Los Angeles, and they provide training for veterans and military spouses. So for those that are looking into starting a business or just the idea of it, if they can't do it, say they're disabled, their spouses can do it on their behalf as long as it's all vetted ahead of time, right? But there's a lot of training and free resources. We have a representative in our office. He's our veterans officer. He actually goes to these military bases to provide specific training as they transition out from the military. So that's a really good center. All these centers are being partially funded by SBA. They're not SBA employees, but we're providing this money, this grant money to these organizations so that they can provide these services to the community. Now, kind of transitioning into my expertise is as your business starts to develop, say as you landed, you've already done your couple of years in business, and maybe you're considering getting into federal contracting, right? We are, in terms of federal contracting, the world's largest buyer of all goods and services. I'm sure you've heard that speech before, but there are a lot of opportunities. And, you can use the different resource partners to kind of help you get ready to make that decision on whether you should take that next step to get into federal contracting. They can evaluate your marketability, your structure and experience. Sometimes if it's a one-man show, it's hard for you to move into federal contracting. But if you already were exposed to it, maybe you work for a small business that was a federal contractor, and so you have that experience. So maybe it's not, maybe it is achievable, and maybe you can do it even though you're a small team. So there's different factors that play in. So we want to make sure that you connect with our resource partners. A free resource that's available to all small businesses is what's called the Apex Accelerators. So these are not funded by SBA. They're actually funded by the Department of Defense. And the Department of Defense monitors these centers, and it's specific to help and train and support small businesses for federal contracting, state and local contracting. So it's a different twist. It's not your average center where you're just going, hey, I need help with my marketing. I need help with my business plan, or I don't know what structure to get. This is different. This is specific to contracting. So again, we do have 3 in our service area, but they're spread out nationwide. So if you're not in our specific area, you could just do a search for Apex Accelerators, and you'll see a map throughout the US with different centers throughout. Now, this is a program that a lot of people don't know about, and I wanted to make sure that I called it to your attention. SBA has what's called the Empower to Grow program. And again, it's similar to the Apex Accelerators in that it's geared to government contracting. The difference here is that in order to qualify for this special training, you have to hit one of these categories here. You have to either be located in a high unemployment or low income area, your business must be owned by a low income individual, or you are already certified as 8A, HubZone, or economically disadvantaged women-owned company, right? So if you're already certified, then you automatically get access to these trainings. And as you can see, I put a little snippet here as to the types of training that you would be able to access. And it ranges from something simple as responding to a sources sought. A sources sought is when the federal agency puts out like a feeler to the contracting community. Hey, we have this requirement coming up. Are you interested? Maybe it's a construction opportunity, and they're putting the feelers out there to see if there's any 8A, HubZone, women-owned, or service-disabled companies that are interested in this opportunity. You have to respond. There's a process that you need to go through, right? Or maybe you just don't know how to look at agency forecasts. You don't know what agency you should be looking at, right? They have classes on forecasting. So there's so many classes that are dedicated to train small businesses get into federal contracting. So I highly recommend it. So even if you're not already certified, as long as you meet one of these 2 other requirements, you can already access this. Here in California, we only have 2 providers, and this is all virtual. So it's not like you're going into, the office, it's virtual. The first provider is BidSpeed, and the second one is the Catalyst Center. And both of them have a unique set of classes that they offer. Everything is government contracting related. And then I wanted to kind of highlight the different certification programs real quickly. So we do have 4 main programs. We have the 8A Business Development Program, which is the program that I work under. And currently there's a goal nationwide that all federal agencies have to achieve 13% of their contracting activity, okay, at 13%. For HubZone, it's a 3% goal. For women-owned companies, it's 5%. And for service disabled, it's 5%. Under the leadership of President Biden, he put a mandate that we're going to increase the 8A goal up to 15%. So this is a perfect time for small businesses that are interested in getting into federal contracting, because this goal continues to increase. And so far, the agencies nationwide are hitting these goals. So this goal just a few years ago was 5%, and we're already hitting the 13%. So good time to be in the 8A program. If you are in any type of a construction related field and you need bonding and you can't get bonding in the commercial market, you're getting denied, you're not getting approved, you're not getting that increase that you want, SBA has its own surety bond program. So you can apply to see if you can get up to $9 million for non-federal contracts and up to $14 million for federal contracts. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of this if you're having difficulties increasing your bonding. Again, this is specifically for construction opportunities. One thing I do need to call to everybody's attention is that SBA currently has put a pause on all applications, whether it's 8A, women-owned, hub zone, or service disabled, because we're going through a system upgrade. And so just started on August 1st, so it's basically closed. Nobody can apply until September, sometime in September when they reopen it. But the reason for this is that prior to August 1st, you would have to apply in multiple systems for the different certifications. Now SBA is doing away with that, putting one system together so you can apply for multiple certifications at one time. This is a long time coming. I think since I've been in the 8A program, they've talked about this for years, and now it's finally happening. I was surprised when we got the news, and we're like, okay, great, can't wait. It's going to really help with the backlog of applications, because before, imagine going through different applications with a different analyst, it was causing delays. You know, you might have gotten approved for 8A, but your women-owned application was backlogged for review. So now, once the new certification comes to place, it's going to be all, you know, one review, one analyst. Okay, you qualify into these, you're applying to these. It's approved one at once. And so it's a good news for the small business community. So I hope you consider this if you think that you're ready for federal contracting. Now, going into the hot topic, lending, right? If you need access to capital, I think the most of our questions, you know, when I'm covering the phones in the office or what have you, I would say 90% of the calls we get have to do with loans, right? And so SBA works with approved lenders to offer microloans and SBA backed loans or guaranteed loans. So we do offer competitive terms, lower down payments, and flexible overhead requirements. And through our resource partners like the SCORE, SBBCs, Women Business Centers, and the Veteran Business Outreach Centers, they can give you counseling to help prepare you to get that loan. So you want to make sure that you connect with these partners. A lot of them already have existing relationships with their local lenders. So they know what the lender is requiring. They already have a feeling, an idea of whether or not you're going to get approved based on, you know, what you're providing to them. So just keep that in mind. So in terms of the SBA loans, there's several buckets, right? There's the microloans, which go up to $50,000. And those are not done by the major banks or credit unions. These are actually done by what we call microloan intermediaries. They're essentially nonprofit organizations that have some sort of business counseling component, right? So these intermediaries can work with you to put a microloan together. We have two in our service area. We have PACE and Vermont Slauson. It's one of our newer lenders. So they can help you whether it's working capital, inventory, supplies, furniture, fixtures, machinery, and equipment. And then our biggest program is the 7A loans. So those loans go up to $5 million. And these you do with lenders that have been approved and vetted by SBA to do small business SBA loans for 7A, right? So as you approach the different lenders, it's not what you think of in terms of, oh, I'm going to go to for example, US Bank, and I'm going to go and apply for an SBA loan. That's really not the way it works. Usually what happens is the bank is going to try to run your application through their regular commercial standards, right? And if for some reason you're kind of not meeting their regular commercial standards, then they will make the decision to kind of go through the SBA loan requirements to see if they can qualify you through this SBA loan requirements, right? And so it's important that as you're nurturing these relationships with your bank, most of you already have banks that you work with, you know, if you're getting denied, you know, that's a time to reach out to one of our resource partners to help them help you put your loan package together, right? Get it ready, look at your financials, look at your business plan, look at all these things before you approach the bank. We also have the 504 loan program, and this is for the big loans, right? The big construction loans, you're for existing buildings, for land, for new facilities, long-term equipment. Maybe you're a manufacturing company getting to make some big purchases of machinery, or building improvements. And these loans go up to 5.5 million. Now, one thing that I do recommend is if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to interface with all these different banks, what you could try is what is not that new. We've had it for several years now. It's called Lender Match. And through Lender Match, you go onto our portal, you put in your information, the criteria, how much loan you want, what are you going to use it for? Is it working capital? Is it to, refinance that? Whatever have you. You put the parameters of what you're looking for. And then that system or our system will generate a short list of lenders that kind of fit what you're looking for. Otherwise, you spend a lot of time kind of shopping around and maybe getting denied or like, oh no, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that. And this kind of cuts that legwork by you going straight to Lender Match, putting in that criteria, and now you can move forward with a short list and then make your decision on who you want to approach, which lender. You could do that, work through your resource partner as well to do that. The last bucket here is disaster loans. Now these, unlike these other loans that are guaranteed by SBA, so the 7A and 504, the reason why lenders end up using SBA's programs is because we guarantee anywhere from 75 to 85% of that loan to the lender. So if something happens, if you're delinquent or go into bankruptcy, whatever situation you face, SBA will honor that guarantee to the bank. So they're more willing to make that loan. That's the whole premise of the 7A and 504. But these programs are really viewed as your last resort, right? You want to first try just getting a regular loan through your bank, through their commercial loan program. SBA is like the last resource. You couldn't get it through your commercial bank. Now you're going to try and get it through the SBA loan programs. And then going back to disaster loans, these are direct loans from SBA. SBA has set aside funding for disasters. And so in cases of a declared disaster, right? So it has to be declared. And there's time limits. It'll say, for example, when there's an earthquake and there's damages, they'll put a declaration, they'll put a start date, and they'll put an end date. And you must apply during that period in order to qualify, whether it's for a physical damage loan, maybe your business was damaged, maybe your home was damaged, and you need to apply for a physical loan, or maybe it's economic injury. Maybe you didn't sustain physical damage, but because of the road closures, you're not getting any business. So it's causing an economic impact to your operations, right? You may qualify for an economic injury loan. So just wanted to make that distinction in terms of disaster loans. Hopefully some of you benefited from the COVID loans, the PPP loans and the EIDL loans when it happened. So that was, of course, unprecedented. I would say at that time, all the calls were regarding loans that we were getting. But we were able to help a lot of small businesses, and the disaster loan program is made to help small businesses and homeowners overcome the obstacles of these disasters.
Sandra, quick question on the disaster. When you said declared by who? Does it have to be a federal declaration? Is it state? Is it county? How does that work?
It has to be federally declared see, what happens is usually what happens is the state will ask the SBA to review the area, right? They'll say, hey, maybe it's the farmers, are affected by a drought or there's an earthquake. So the governor will reach out to the SBA, and then the SBA will review it and then declare it. And then it gets declared, and there's a press release, and everything gets issued out to the public. A lot of times the SBA disaster folks will set up field offices in the affected areas. So We do our best to get the press coverage out there when there's an actual declaration to make sure that everybody's aware. And we also try our best to post it on our website in terms of what declarations are out. So you always want to be mindful of that. But it's very, very, it's very stringent when it comes to the deadline. So if it ends tomorrow, you have to apply before the deadline. You can't let that deadline slip away. And then the last slide here I have is just to give you a feel for the types of workshops that our resource providers have, right? I just picked PCR, Pacific Coast Regional. They're one of our small business development centers. Ready, set, launch, kickstart your business. How to become loan ready. A lot of these centers have these workshops where they're helping you get loan ready. So you want to make sure that you get paired up, that you take advantage. All these centers have their workshops listed, and it'll tell you, like this one says it's free. Some of them will say there's a fee, so you just be mindful of that. But I highly recommend you take advantage. Maybe you want to do one with the Women Business Center, over here with the SBDC, over there with a SCORE, that's perfectly fine. Again, we service LA, Ventura, and Santa Barbara counties. So if you have any follow-up questions, I'll be here to answer questions, but you can always contact our office. We are located in downtown LA. It's our temporary office space. We're still looking for a permanent home. But if you have any certification inquiries, if you send it to 8A-LADO@sba.gov, that's basically me or my supervisor. There's two of us in this that work with the certification, so it comes to us. So you're welcome to send up any follow-up questions. If there's something that you don't remember now and you remember later on, send us an email, we will respond. And I did reach out to our lender relationship specialist before getting on this call, and she allowed me to post her direct contact information. So if you have any specific loans, or maybe you're having a difficult time with a lender or what have you, you can reach out to Joni Cabral, and she'll be there to answer any questions that you might have. Now I'll open up for questions.
Quick question. What happens with when a borrower runs into difficulties, on the verge of default, or if they do default? What are the ramifications? Obviously, credit.
Yes. When that's going to happen, I highly recommend that you contact the lender and contact SBA, because they can put a moratorium on your payment. They can restructure the loan, make it longer. They can work with you, but if you just kind of stop, then there's no help, right? You have to ask for help to get the help. And don't just work with a lender, contact SBA. That way SBA is, and you come working with the lender and you to help you. The resources are there. Just don't be afraid to ask. It happens. Life happens. We all experience it one day or another. And, just make sure you reach out to SBA, reach out to your lender and let them know what's going on, and ask them what can they do to help you get through this hump.
Things have, I presume things have sort of normalized post-COVID now. So, what is the area where the SBA is providing, I guess, the most assistance, or a particular industry that's a good fit for an SBA loan? And then conversely, what are some of the areas that are not available? I imagine, cannabis is not.
Yeah, cannabis. You know what? It's a good question. I don't know the answer because I don't work in lending, but I can find out. I can find out from Joni and find out what are the top industries where most of the lending is coming from. I know on the contracting side, in terms of certification, a lot of contracting is going to construction, IT, engineering, R&D. So we see that a lot on the construction side. I don't know if that translates over to the loan side, but that's what I see.
Now you're more on the operation side. Can you share a little? I mean, you gave us a good top level of what the SBA does. Let's make it about you now and what you
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, so I work specifically with a portfolio of small businesses and 8A firms, right? So even though I know about the different certifications, it's specific to 8A. So 8A firms are basically what we call it socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses. Socially comes, we don't use the term minority, but essentially socially is minority. But what's happened over the past year is the 8A program has undergone a lot of scrutiny. And before, it used to be that if you were socially disadvantaged in one of these minority groups, that you were automatically presumed to be socially disadvantaged, right? That's not the case anymore. There was a recent court case, and due to that court case, SBA had to make some changes to the 8A program. And so now any small business owner that's interested in the 8A program needs to demonstrate their social disadvantage status by providing 2 instances of discrimination. And it has to be directly tied to your business advancement. Like, what kind of discrimination did you experience? Maybe you felt that you were turned down for a loan because of your race, and it had nothing to do with your credit worthiness. Whatever it is, you have to provide now a narrative, right? So that did put a little hinder on things for a minute. We had to kind of slow down the pace and stop the 8A applications for a while, but everything is back in order. In terms of the 8A business development, I work hand in hand with the small businesses, coaching them along the way. We have them in all different levels. We have people coming into our program with 200,000 in revenues or less. We have some in the multi-million dollars coming into the 8A program. So there's a wide variety of small businesses that we see. The 8A program that I work under, it's a 9-year program. So unlike the other certifications that it's 3-year certification turnaround, you can continue to certify and recertify as long as you meet the requirements, not for the 8A program. You're in the program 9 years and then you're out. So I work with them closely to ensure that they're in compliance, that they maintain their eligibility. That's a big thing, right? You don't want to have someone terminated out of the program because they didn't monitor their eligibility. So I help them monitor their eligibility, connect them to resources, find opportunities, teach them how to use the different market research tools. There's a lot of free databases out there that small businesses can use to find out what agencies they should be marketing to, who are their competitors. So I do a lot of that, a lot of one-on-ones, coaching, referrals. Sometimes they call me just because they need a loan, and so I work with them with our lender relations specialist to match them up and get that guidance. So it really depends. There's a wide variety of things that fall under what I do. Depends on the nature of the small business. We're always looking to grow our portfolio. If you think of the dynamics of just LA County alone, we should have a lot more 8A firms. We have about, I want to say 90 or 100 around there, certified companies in our portfolio. And our portfolio is LA, Ventura, and Santa Barbara County. Nationwide, there's about a little bit under 5,000. So we're always looking to grow the portfolio. We're hoping that this system certification upgrade, by making it easier to apply to our programs, that we will see an increase in certifications. So yeah, that's an initial.
Do you thank you. Do you have a sister organization that services, I guess, Orange County and San Diego
Yes.
County or Riverside? How does that work?
Yes. So we have, if you go here on my screen where it says sba.gov/local, once you go there, it's going to ask you to enter your zip code. And when you enter your zip code, it's going to redirect you to the district office. But we have one in San Diego, Orange County, Fresno, Sacramento, and San Francisco, in addition to the LA office.
Thank you. Another question here in the chat is, does the SBA still have the SBIC program?
SBIC, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out. Or you know what, who'll know? Joni Cabral, because she works in the lending department. She will know. I'm not sure if SBIC is still around.
Apparently, it was a private equity fund that was managed by the SBA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Share with us a little bit about the certifications. You mentioned a bit about this. Seems to be so many alphabet certifications now.
There is a lot of certifications. Well, I'll tell you this. There's a lot of correlation between one certification and the next, right? So you do have to be a for-profit business, regardless of what certification you select. You have to be for-profit. You have to be a small business, not a large business. You have to be primarily operating in the United States. You have to be a US citizen. And the biggest factor is that you have to be 51% ownership, owned and controlled by the qualifying individual, right? So if you're applying for the woman-owned certification, then that woman needs to be at least 51%. If you're applying for 8A, then the socially disadvantaged individual has to be at least 51%, et cetera. You also have to devote full time to the company. And this could be an issue because we get a lot of people call. I get this question all the time. Well, I'm still working for my employer, but I started this side business and I wanted to grow. Can't do it. You have to be full time involved in this company. You also be that, we're looking at, are you the highest ranking officer? Are you the highest paid? And we understand if you're starting up your business, a lot of times you're putting the money into your business, and you're not really taking money out. Just need to explain that. That's pretty much it. Those are the basic general requirements for each. Hub zone is unique. That for the hub zone certification is your your principal office has to be located in the hub zone. So we have this map on our website where you just put in your business address, and it's going to tell you if you're located in the hub zone or if you're not located in the hub zone. If you are located, then you half the battle is won. The other half of the battle is that 35% of your employees also have to live in a hub zone.
Wow.
And that's hard to manage, right? Because you can't control where your employees live. So hub zone is probably the hardest certification to maintain. And in terms of federal contracting, we see across the band, the federal agencies have a hard time awarding contracts to hub zone firms because there's some unsteadiness there, right? SBA has made a lot of improvements to the hub zone program. Before, we used to update the map frequently. Now we said, okay, we're not going to do that because it caused a lot of unsteadiness. So we're going to update the map every 5 years. We're also going to honor long-term leases, or if you purchase a property in a hub zone, right, up to 10 years, right? So you won't fall out of hub zone status just because the map says you're no longer qualified. As long as you show us a copy of your long-term lease or that you purchased the property in a hub zone at time of application, then we can honor it up to 10 years. So a few things to make it work.
What's the definition of small business? What's the demarcation? I guess after a certain revenue, you're.
Yes. So the way SBA goes about defining small business is based on your industry code, your NAICS code, or it's technically called the North American Industry Classification System. It's a 6-digit code that's assigned to each industry, right? So if you're in professional services, your size standard is tied to a dollar, right? In millions, right? So for example, I think construction is up to like 45 million size standard. So, and we do a 5-year average. So imagine you're still considered a small business if your 5-year average is under 45 million for construction. So every industry has a different size standard threshold. For manufacturing, wholesales, and brokers, we're not looking at we're not looking at revenues. We're actually looking at number of employees. So for some of these manufacturing companies, you'll see that their size standard might be 700 employees or 1,000 employees, and they're still considered small. So,
Is there a bottom number, a minimum number, and does the SBA look at a designation between small business and micro business?
no, it's just small business, and there's no bottom. It's just we're more concerned about the top, for you're not going over the small business status.
What about length of time in business?
There's no only for the 8A program, there is a 2-year in business requirement. For the other programs, there's no time in business requirement. But other than that, you're free to go and apply for the certifications.
Does SBA have a certification for personal development coaches?
No.
And someone was asking, is there somewhere we can go to look up NAICS codes requirements by industry?
Yes, it's on our website. It's called the SBA's Table of Size Standards. So if you just do a search for Table of Size Standards, it'll pop up the list with the industry, the 6-digit code, and the size standard that's attached to it.
Table.
Size standard.
Mhm.
Okay.
The MBDA program went through a little bit of a thing as well at the beginning of this year, didn't it? Can you go into that? I know I do coaching for the Los Angeles Urban League for the MBDA program, and we're on our second cohort, but it got stalled at some point there in the very beginning.
You know what? I don't know the details of what happened to their program, but I did kind of superficially hear about it, but I don't know the exact details. So I want to
Okay.
talk about some, yeah.
Okay. I taught for the new Women's Business Center in Canoga Park. I did classes from during the pandemic, actually, until about a month ago. I resigned because I have some other stuff going on. But that's an excellent program, as well as the Vermont Slauson has incredible, and they have very specific industry programs going on over there. So if you're looking to get into a food truck or something of that nature, Vermont Slauson is excellent for helping you make that happen, as well as the new Women's Business Center. They focus on women in retail, fashion design, interior design. So you're looking for programs like that as a female, as a woman, and excellent support. The counselors and the supports systems there are there for you. So excellent programs.
Yes.
Crystal, over to you.
Someone's asking, what is the MDBA? Isn't it the Minority Development? It's the Minority Business Development Association, right?
Yeah, Minority Business Development Agency. So years ago, just for you to know, years ago, the MBDA had centers everywhere. Wherever you looked, there was MBDA centers. And then they lost their funding and they were shut down, these different centers. And then they started to pop back up again, right? We have here a PACE Business Development Center. They also received a grant from the MBDA, so they operate an MBDA center there. So they can provide guidance, and they're focused on at the federal level, making sure that small businesses are getting their fair share of contracts. So you want to make sure that if you're in federal contracting already, that you reach out to the Minority Business Development Agency to see what additional assistance they can provide to you. And they're here local. PACE is here in Los Angeles.
Exactly. And the Los Angeles Urban League, they do a cohort for those in the food industry and those that are in the creative industry. So right now we have 27 business owners in both going on simultaneously. I think it's a 6-week program. They probably will be running another one very soon. And so you're getting information on how to, one, your financials, because I don't care where you go, you have to have your financials in place. And the other on information on what the lenders are looking for so that you can be loan ready. And then finally, in the creative space, they're introducing them to individuals on how to get their projects to big entities like Netflix. We had a meeting last night, and someone from Netflix was there telling them how to sell their products, how to put the pitch deck together, how to do other funding as well until you can get to that place where you're ready for commercial lending. So those are excellent programs. And so if you have a small business, and then we have a number, Pat Click is on, they have programs over there, as well as Joseph Duncan, they have programs. So a business owner cannot say, I don't know how to do this. And I don't know who can help me because there is plenty of help out there. You just have to commit yourself to going to those organizations and coaches that are there to provide. Myself and my business partner, Gilbert Buchanan, he does all of that certification piece over there. So there's plenty of resources. Y'all just have to know how to go get them. PCRs there, PACE is there. Would you agree, Sandra?
Yes, I agree. And oh, I
It's
forgot to mention
disturbing
that.
that so often the urban legend is that nobody's trying to help small business owners, particularly minority small business owners, when all the people that Crystal just named, Sandra and everybody in her organization, and thousands of other people across this country do this work every single day. And every time I'm online and I read a post where somebody says, nobody's trying to help us, I'm like, everybody's trying to help you. It's like we sent a boat and a helicopter and you're still on the roof. What's your problem?
Exactly. I've had clients tell me once they've been referred to me, it's like, you know what? I really don't want to help. Okay. But don't complain when your business is not growing because the help is there. You just have to be coachable. How about that? Pat, you have a question or something to say about that?
Yes,
Did you
I
work
want
with
I want to
SBA?
ask Sandra a question. On the applications that were submitted by July 31st, before the program shut down on August the 1st, are they going to work those during this time frame and try to expedite those to get them certified? Or how are you guys looking at
Yes,
that?
yes. What they told us was that if the application was okay, they said that any application that was returned to the client and the client did not return it back to SBA, those applications were going to get closed out. But if the client responded to SBA's requests for information and it's on SBA sides, those are going to continue to get reviewed. Okay, so again, if they didn't respond and they've been in this queue of non-response, and there was quite a few firms that just had not responded for months on end to SBA, those were closed out, and they're going to have to start from fresh in the new system come September.
Okay. And once it starts in September, is the turnaround time going to be faster? Because I know it had been very slow.
You know what? That's what they're telling us. And I think it's true because what's going to happen is it's not going to go through all these different analysts of review, right? It's going to be assigned to one analyst making the decision that this applicant meets 8A hub zone, whatever the applicant wants. Maybe the applicant only wants 8A or 1 So whatever the applicant requests, only one analyst versus all these multiple layers, right? We're hoping it's going to be a smoother transition. What I already started to see was on the 8A side, that the applications that were already approved, say in the women-owned program, they already got approval there in the economic disadvantage program, that they got fast-tracked on the 8A side. So like they didn't review the application. They basically said, we're relying on the women-owned program analysts on their decision that this company was economically disadvantaged. And so we're moving forward with that determination for 8A. So I already saw that. So I believe it is going to speed things up. I just don't know, like with everything new, it takes time for it to move quicker.
Did they hire some additional resources to help in the process? Because I know they were short in resources at one point.
Not that I'm aware of. I think they're trying to manage with what they have.
Okay. Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome, Trisha. Nice seeing you.
Anyone else have any questions? Our guest next week, I think, Stephen, do you want to come? Stephen, are you still there? No, you want us to do this? I guess Stephen.
I think you mentioned our guest next week is Delmy Martinez.
Yes.
And
from the First City First Bank, which is the formerly Broadway Federal Bank. So they are becoming very active in the community. Another resource. Sandra, I may introduce you to them because they're looking to grow their commercial market. John tell her back. I will send a introduction to you
Okay.
and John, because they're really trying to once Broadway Federal formerly became City First Bank, which is one of the largest Black banks in DC. The merger took place last year in March, completed in March. And so they've been really actively looking to re-engage with the community. So at one point, City First Bank or Broadway Federal was the only bank, and I think they still are the only bank that would provide funding for churches, for the faith-based organization. So something to look into. So Sarah says Sandra will be with the Black Business Expo, which is August 17th at LA Trade Tech. So Sarah, is there a flyer or something that you can pop in the chat so everyone can? She's in the midst of preparing for the BBA for the Day Expo.
1 second, please. Sorry. Yes, go to bbala.org. Thank you.
Okay. I will put that in the chat. Let's see. So we are at the top of our hour, BBA. Let me get that right, LA.org. All right, you can get the flyer over there. So support our organizations, guys. Everybody's doing things. I don't know if anybody's going to be at the Vermont Slauson Economic Development Partners event this evening. With Joseph, yes. I will see you there, Joseph. So if not, you guys should definitely go over there. Laura's Kitchen has some of the most amazing cookies. They're named after individuals in her family and friends, and she's got tea cakes that are off the chain. Cookies. And she's migrating her way into the commercial market, trying to get into some big box stores. So let's send prayers out, and if you guys got any connections for help the sister out. She's been working very hard at this, and so very pleased with the work she's doing. Okay, let's see who else. Laura, there's an OSC mobility wallet workshop, so she put some information in the chat. With that, guys, we are going to sign off. We want you to be in vote mode again. It's very, very important. Understand what's going on. I know it's a big document, but Project 25 is the real deal. And so you really want to read that. That will help get you and everybody else in your family to the polls, because it's something else. The Business Zone, my other podcast, we did a episode last week called Project 25 and how will it affect our small business community. And so there's some things there that would including the SBA and any other federal government that's out there helping small business, minority small business people, it would affect greatly. So please, just knowledge is the best sense of power in my book, right? And so the more you know about it, the better decisions you can make when it comes to actually voting. Okay. All righty, guys. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week. Bring some friends. Tell everyone. This program will be up on, the show will be up on YouTube. Give me a few days. But the one from last week is definitely there. So if you want to get a replay of what we discussed last week,
you got that one out quick.
I did. And that's with Kelly Todd Griffin from the Black Women's Collective. They're a think tank, and they really gave us some insightful information, as well as Carmen Downs, who is with the National Coalition of Black Women, 100 Black Women. So yes, so go over there. It was a great conversation, and it carried on actually all week. So, so it was great. So anyway, you guys have a great week and a great weekend, and we will see you next Thursday. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra. Yep, thank you for coming in.
Please feel free to come back anytime. Anything you have to share with us, please come back. We'd love to have you. Yes, especially when after August 1st, when things change.
Yeah. Yes.
And send the link for the forgiveness of the economic impact loans, right?
All right. See you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Let's see. Stop the share and stop the recording.